Now, Chadwick Boseman has some truly prophetic words during the end credits that I think everyone needs to take notice of. Chaz, Chadwick Boseman has some truly prophetic words during the end credits that I truly think that everyone needs to take notice of. Chadwick, Chadwick Boseman has some truly prophetic words during the end credits that I think everyone needs to take notice of. On this week's episode, we're talking a Marvel. Oh, sorry. On this week's episode, we're talking the cultural influence of Black Panther, a Marvel Comics reboot, some Kickstarter issues, and is the best blockbuster. And is the next blockbuster movie? And is the next blockbuster movie about Cheetos? And is the next blockbuster movie about Cheetos? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Can't even say it right. The PCC Multiverse. The PCC Multiverse. And we're back for another episode of the PCC Multiverse. We truly thank you for listening to us each and every week on the show. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I want to thank you again for stopping by and listening to us. And it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He's the man, the myth, the legend at Humanica Media. You got to check out all the great things going on in their program today. On their network today at Humanica Media Network at humanicamedia.com. It's Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
What up, what up, what up? Just wrapped up Faye, and I have to tell you, I have never seen a game so beautiful that confused me so much.
Well, it sounded like it was a fun time for you. You talked about all the different platforming and just the way it's, got you through the narrative without any real voiceovers or anything of that nature. So it seemed like you were having a fun time with the streams that you were showing off on your Humanica Media channel on YouTube. So definitely people need to take a look at that and see if Faye is the right game for them. Well, it's going to be a great episode we got for you here today. We got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. He's going to talk about a couple Kickstarter projects, Eye of the Beholder, and also System Shock that maybe not are going as well as planned or as what was once thought of. And if you're investing in either one of those projects, you may want to hear what Rob has to say. Plus, also as well, we've got TJ Johnson from the Voice from the Underground. He's going to be talking the cultural influence of the big hit around the world right now, Black Panther. Over 500 million already in the bank. Looks like it's going to be heading towards $1 billion and even more. It's such a great, great story as far as the box office is concerned. He's going to talk about the cultural and societal influences of the movie later on in the program. But first, Josh, we got to talk about some great things going on in the comics world because once again, it looks like another major entity in the comics world is doing a reboot. This time it's Marvel. Now, we heard before that Marvel was going to do a whole new lineup as far as, make a lot of changes in with the way they structured their Marvel comics with only a certain number of specific comics that they're going to be issuing out. And then you're starting to see them flow out right now with #1 editions. But the one that actually got everybody up in arms this week was Marvel's Avengers. They're actually, instead of the Uncanny, the West Coast, all these other Avengers stories going on, they're just going to have one central Avengers and start off with a #1 edition later on this spring. So I want to hear your thoughts on that and also the thoughts on actually Marvel rebooting it as a whole as a reaction to maybe declining sales and also declining readership from longtime fans as well.
Yeah, so I'm curious about that. I was trying to get more info and they didn't really have any. Is it, are they rebooting everything from scratch?
It seems like it right now because every edition that's coming out right now is a #1 edition.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's good. I mean, I'm curious though if they're going to be telling new origin tales or what's going on with that. That'd be really cool. You know, I
Josh, are you there? Josh, are you there? Josh, did I lose you? Still there?
Yeah, sorry, my thing kicked me. I have like 4 different email addresses popped up here. I'm sorry.
No worries. Because it's just funny because just as you came on, I saw two different Joshes right there. So so continuing on with our show, and I thought it was my issue this time, but continuing on with our show, when you talk about all the things that are going on with Marvel Comics, especially like I said, Avengers #1 and how they're concentrating it all into one entity when it comes to the Avengers saga.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's cool. I would like to see them do what DC did with their New 52 and kind of just reboot the entire universe, show us, you know, from origin point to you know, to the gathering like the Avengers, and you know, give us something new, new villains, new stories. Like that would be really cool because right now Marvel is so, you know, they have Amazing Spider-Man's up and it's almost up to its 1000th issue, and it's just their numbering system is so weird. They always do this thing where they're like, hey, we're gonna reboot it, but not really. So you have it jump from, you know, issue 116 to issue like 3 or something, and it doesn't make any sense at all. So, you know, as a comic book fan, I've grown tired of trying to keep up with a lot of these stories. You know, I haven't read Marvel comics in a long time, but if they were to reboot everything and actually start from point number 1, like that would be something I could get on board with. But I know they have characters like Robbie Reyes and like the new Cho, the new Hulk. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for keeping those guys around, but just give us a starting point. You know, even if they are already those heroes, you know, taking on those alter egos, just give us something fresh. Give us something that starts at issue 1 and that we can follow consistently for the next 4 or 5 years, and that would be something that could get me on board.
Well, it also goes without saying that the problems within the comic book industry and all the things that Marvel and DC have tried to do in recent times when it comes to trying to earn back those sales. I think a lot of it has to do on the Marvel side when it comes to the Secret Wars with obviously the Captain America hero. It was Secret War, right?
Yeah, that was the one, Secret Wars. That was the one that ended all the extra universes.
Yeah, but that's also the one Captain America was bad in, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, with Secret War being such a part of last year's controversy, you know, rising up because Captain America had become, you know, such an evil part of Hydra and such a major part of that entity, and people just really just revolted and rebelled against that. And even though Marvel tried to put a happy face on it all at the end and tried to tie a nice bow into it, it's clearly those type of mistakes, and obviously comic book and superhero fatigue may have been set in before it set in on the films. It may have set in on things such as the TV shows that are put on ABC, CW, but also as well into the comic book scene with DC and also Marvel, necessitating this type of reboot because of declining sales. Is that something also as well? Because I really know Secret War, there was a real backlash to that with Captain America going rogue in Hydra.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a stopgap measure. It's like it's a temporary thing. You're going to bring fans back, and then they're just going to go back to their old habits of having these long, drawn out stories. And then once they get everyone back on board, who's to say they're not going to have another Captain America situation? And um, this is why it's important to give new fans, because I saw in the interview they were talking. The editor in chief was saying that he's excited because it's like a jumping on point for people who have never read comic books or were old fans looking to pick up issues and start reading them again. And he was saying it's a good jumping on point. So I'm wondering just how far down the reboot rabbit hole they're going to go, and if they're going to start at issue ones, are they going to be bringing their characters back in? And then if so, what's the next Marvel event going to look like? Is it going to be something that we can sink our teeth into, or is it going to be something that's going to jump off of old continuity?
That's right. And it was Secret Empire, not Secret War. Secret Empire, as far as the way that the Marvel wanted to go with Captain America. But I understand that, especially when talking to you as our comic book expert and someone who has been a part of the comic book scene for so long, diving back into it, you need something fresh to get into, and hopefully this is the ticket to that and the way to get a kickstart back into the comic book industry, because it's clear something is needed. I just think a lot of fans tuned out during the Secret Empire series that was made with Captain America. I know a lot of people, like I said, revolted against it and did want to finish out the series no matter how happy the ending was, even though by some appearances and some rumors had it that maybe that this wasn't the way the Marvel wanted to end the series at all. But be that as it may, like you said, DC is doing its Rebirth series with all of its series going back to the original form, and I just think at this point in time they need to do things like this to recapture that audience. It's clear that even going to a digital form with Marvel Unlimited and also DC's structure that you can get for digitally are still not the ticket for people to have that ease and convenience. It's still not something that I guess people are really getting into at a high enough level. I think at this point in time, Marvel and DC are still scratching their heads on exactly what they can do. And I guess for Marvel, this seems to be at least one way that they can start the process going forward. If you were at Marvel or DC at this point in time, is this a route that you would be taking, or is there some other route that you would want to take in order to get this comic book industry back off the ground and keep it going in the right direction?
I mean, we've talked about this with DC, and like I've made my, I said before, and I'll say it now, that Marvel, honestly, like, these aren't our father's comic books. We grew up, we know the stories, we know the classic villains, we know the origins, but we don't want we don't want. I think people are tired of continuity from the 60s. Like, if just reboot, start from scratch, keep the heroes. You can have Peter Parker or whatever it is, but give us something new to sink our teeth in, and something that's less confusing for collectors. They have these weird numbering systems, and it's too many universes. I know they're trying to close those up with Secret Empire, Secret Wars. They Marvel has a tendency to create these worlds and then they don't finish them, and they have good ideas like, let's destroy everything, let's make Battle World, let's do this, let's do that. Just start from scratch. I think that is the best business decision that they could make right now. And I'm hopeful that this is what that is, but at the same time, it looks very doubtful, because it looks like they are only going to be starting at issue 1 with the Avengers, in which case, that's kind of something they've already done. So what's the point?
Yeah, I know. What's the point indeed? But at least it's some way that at least it's Marvel and DC acknowledging that there is a problem, that they may be out of touch with its readers. And this is hopefully one way that they can reconnect with that audience and get back to the way the comic book series are concerned. I know a lot of people within the comic book shops and comic book industry themselves that are trying to analyze and be understanding of the situation. We're concerned as far as the future of the comic book industry. And at least at this point in time, from both a DC and now a Marvel standpoint, restarting again is maybe that one way, outside of obviously coming up with that next great idea as far as a comic series is concerned. At least this is a way to have that, like you said, a stopgap that hopefully will right the sinking ship and head it towards a good direction. What are your thoughts on the reboot of the Marvel comic series, including the Avengers going to consolidated form and going out as one entity? What are your thoughts? Share us your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Popculturecosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Popculturecosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, it's going to be a great episode. Like I said, we've got Rob McCallum standing by in the Cosmic Crossfire. We also have as well TJ Johnson from Voice from the Underground. He's going to be by later on in the program sharing his thoughts on Black Panther and what it means to him and what it means to the community as well. Plus, Josh and I are going to be back a little bit later in the program with our thoughts on a possible Cheetos movie. All this and more coming up in the show today. We hope you enjoy it indeed. But first, it's our good friend Elijah Harrison. He's got an alter ego named Plasma Z, and this is one of his great songs, which you can find today on SoundCloud. And this is Shadows of Chernobyl. And this is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the program. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. Want to thank everyone out there for listening, and also our great stations that we now have that are part of the Pop Culture Cosmos syndication of networks, including our newest network out of the UK. We want to give a big special welcome to Airwave Radio in the UK. You can hear us every Sunday at 2 p.m. UK time. So everybody out there in the United Kingdom can hear us on that great station. Plus also as well, we're on twice a week on the Podcast Radio Network every Monday and Friday. Also Croc Radio as well in Canada. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's the Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting Network. On Wednesdays and Saturdays, it's Grey Cloud Radio. And of course, a 2-hour block is set aside for our shows on Good Talk Radio and the Cutting Edge Good Talk Radio on the Cutting Edge Radio Network as well. So we're just so pleased to be streaming 7 days a week at so many different points in the world. Canada, UK, the US. We're just truly, truly blessed to be a part of it. And if you want to download our shows, we hit with new shows twice a week, every Monday and Friday. You want to check us out by subscribing and downloading our shows on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, the ESO Network, Tangibound Network, the Gunna Geek Network, Google Play, and so many others. In fact, we're on over 20 different podcasting formats. Josh, you've got a great thing going on as well with Humanica Media. So what's going on with everything at Humanica Media?
Well, check out a brand new episode of Topicocalypse dropped last night, as well as a Topicocalypse one-shot review of Black Panther. Just my thoughts. You can also read them on the Pop Culture Cosmos site. There'll be a new What About This next week. There is no Inside Sports that I know of, and new Super BS Cast just went live, so you can check that out also, as well as our Attack of the Humanicans show on the Podcast Radio Network every Tuesday nights.
Indeed, that is Tuesday nights on the Podcast Radio Network, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Check it out there as well. And I'll tell you what, there's so many great things going on there. And again, if you want to read Josh's thoughts, that's on our site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. or check it out on his Topicocalypse radio networks that are on YouTube, Podbean, and Apple Podcasts. So, Josh, earlier I was worried this week about if there were going to be enough great topics to talk about for today's show. But thank goodness to everyone out there that gave us a hand. thanks to TJ Johnson from The Voice from the Underground for stopping by, and Rob McCallum also as well in the Cosmic Crossfire. But this doozy stopped by our desk. We were thinking about talking about Joss Whedon and Batgirl, and if you want to go ahead and tell me your thoughts, Josh, no problem at all. But I know the big news in pop culture came just before we went on air with a lot of talk in regards to maybe a little bit of a different movie idea. But did you want to share some thoughts on Joss Whedon at leaving Batgirl real quickly before we head over to some, a munchy good time?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think that Batgirl was going to get made, because if they're having this much trouble with Batman, I didn't really see where the hope was for having a Batgirl movie anytime soon. While it's cool, I'm sure Joss Whedon's going to go on to do something, a lot better, and something that will actually come to fruition. I'm curious why he agreed to it though in the first place if he didn't have any ideas. I was wondering what the hiring process for that was like. But hey, he directed Avengers and Age of Ultron. People like them, people dislike them. He does great stuff. So we'll see what he does. Maybe fans will finally get their wish and he will make another Firefly series. Who knows?
Who knows indeed. But I'll tell you what, him leaving that series, him leaving that movie is not surprising. It's just a shame that the Batgirl, at least right now, as far as the movie is concerned, is maybe been put on hiatus because of it. And it looks like there's nothing within the short term coming from Batgirl as far as being a part of the DC movie universe is concerned. But maybe that's a good thing overall, because of the fact that there's so much meddling around with the DC movie universe. Maybe they need to clear some stuff up, and maybe they can go ahead and refocus on a great Batgirl a great Batgirl picture down the road, and make it even that much better because of it. Because right now they got a lot of things going on in the DC universe, and who knows what's going to stick and what's actually going to hit theaters anytime soon. But when it comes to movies that might hit theaters sometime soon, Josh, we got wind that Fox Searchlight may be looking into a movie inspired by, get this, Flaming Hot Cheetos. That's right, Flaming Hot Cheetos. They're talking about creating maybe something like something similar to the Emoji Movie, or something of that nature that it will resonate with fans out there, both young and old. So I ask you, Josh, I know you're probably getting hungry right now, but is there any way that you think a flaming hot flaming hot Cheetos movie can actually make it on the big screen and actually be a success for Fox Searchlight?
I actually, while you were talking, I was thinking about the big bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos I bought from Costco. If they don't give out free hot Cheetos in this movie, with your ticket, there's just no point. They're reaching really far into the old idea bag, because I know like Cheetos has, at least with emojis, you had all these different characters to play with, but like
Angry Birds, the same thing.
Yeah, Cheetos has Chester, like that's it. And like he doesn't really do anything except go, "Oh yeah."
Well, I know he used to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah, but there's no like supporting cast. Is going to be CG. Is going to be like the Mario movie coming out, or Detective Pikachu, which is going to feature real people. What do they have? Oh no, it's a biopic, right? About the guy who invented them.
Is it now?
If I was reading the article correctly. Sorry, I just had a weird rant there.
Well, then let me restart that. Okay, let me restart that. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, all right. So let me restart that segment. So, and speaking of hot movies that might make the and speaking of hot movies that might make the silver screen, we just got word of a great idea coming to Fox Searchlight. So I want to ask you, Josh, your thoughts on a Flaming Hot Cheetos and the story behind it. Is this something that you would want to see? And is this something that will actually hit big in theaters?
No, I don't want to see it at all. Honestly, I just have no desire. I don't care. a guy who came up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos, yeah, he's got my respect, but I don't really care to see the story about how it was made. Um, if there's some kind of like special hot Cheeto special flavor they're gonna hand out with each ticket to this movie, that might sway me. But I don't. Why hot Cheetos? Like, why? What is it about this guy's life that makes it interesting? I guess would be the question I would want to know going into it.
Well, we did have the smaller film that came out in the past few years, that came out in recent times with Ray Kroc, with Michael Keaton playing the role of Ray Kroc and help building the McDonald's empire and the story behind it. And even though it was thought of very highly critically, it didn't really mesh with audiences and really kind of got buried, even though he had already won his role for Birdman and it was already back to being a big star on the movie screen. So I agree with you. Unless the story and the writing is it's really, really good and it's something that might even be an Oscar contender, which maybe they are going to actually, come to fruition as, but it's going to be a hard sell for anyone to believe or take seriously the story behind Flamin' Hot Cheetos being something of interest as a 2-hour movie. But then again, if it's well written, you never know. But I agree with you. It's just, but what was it that you said about, what you were thinking about on the way as far as when we were going to, discuss the idea of Flaming Hot Cheetos?
I said I was thinking about the big bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos I had downstairs. And hey, there lies the problem, too. People are going to go into this movie, realize it's not what it is, and they're going to go out and buy Hot Cheetos and just, not finish the rest of the movie. So I want to know more, but I don't want to see it.
Well, will they be selling the Flaming Hot Cheetos at the snack bar? That's what I really want to know. Or will they be giving some out with every movie ticket? Who knows? But it is something that could come to fruition if there's a good story behind it or something that Fox Searchlight might give a thumbs up for. But who knows? Maybe even Chester Cheetah may not be able to even drive this baby home to the silver screen. But we'll have to wait and see because it could be really cold as a movie or it could be flaming hot. What are your thoughts on
Zing!
yes, zing. What are your thoughts on a Flaming Hot Cheetos movie as far as a biopic picture? Not even a cute kids movie or anything like that, but a actual biopic behind the creator, dealing with the creator of Flaming Hot Cheetos. Is this something of interest to you, or do you just want to go to the store and just buy some Cheetos and be done with it? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, it's been a great show we had here today. Josh, do you have any thoughts as we head on out?
I'm gonna go see Annihilation tomorrow, so we can discuss that on Sunday.
Absolutely, and that's something with both Game Night and Annihilation coming out very soon to theaters. That's one thing we wanted to talk about. Is it going to be any competition for Black Panther in its second weekend, or are these movies are going to really just suffer from Black Panther being so popular and get really, really annihilated? Sorry for the pun there, by Black Panther's success, because I think it is actually going beyond even what I thought it would be. And I think it's going to go beyond the $1 billion mark because it hasn't even premiered in China and Japan as of yet. And it's doing this well. I'm just so pleased for everyone involved. So it'll be interesting to see if Annihilation and Game Night, which are both coming up, are going to be movies that might give it a run for its money, or if Black Panther just has too much at this point in time as far as momentum and as far as everybody having such goodwill for it that it's just going to overwhelm anything else that comes across until what did we say, next month, halfway, when you've got Pacific Rim and a couple other movies later in the month in March coming out, right?
Yeah, I think March 18th, I want to say.
Yeah, Pacific. I see if it could very easily dominate the box office until that point in time. Even something like Bruce Willis in the what is it? Bruce Willis. He's coming in. What movie is that?
It's that Eli Roth movie, right?
The old Charles Bronson movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, Death Wish. Yeah,
Death Wish. Yeah.
yeah. So even Death Wish does not look like it's going to stand a chance against Black Panther, but it will be the sign right now this weekend for movies like Annihilation and Game Night going forward. If either of those movies or anything else can compete with Black Panther until Pacific Rim Uprising. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.